world behaviors. Level 3, learning. This is going to be knowledge, skills, and abilities. Level 2, and then reaction. Okay, so a reminder, what is Kirkpatrick all about? Kirkpatrick is saying, how do you evaluate the value of training? Right? You can look at how people react. Hey, do you like it? That's a reaction. So we do some training. So let's say you do your PhD. The reaction would be, do you like it? What do you think? Were you engaged? That would be level 1. Level 2 would be the knowledge that you learn when you're doing your PhD, the skills that you learn, the abilities. Okay? Level 3 would be the behaviors that you exhibit after you finish. Like, hey, you get out. Like how do you behave? And then finally, at the top level is to realize, well, what's the real world outcome? Like, how does the world benefit from you doing it? Now, the problem with most training is that you focus too much at this level and this level. Not important. Most important level is this one. Okay? So I thought it would be a really nice exercise. I just thought this up on the drive-in. Would be to say, hey, what do you think the real world outcome is of doing your PhD? Because the reason why is from that we will talk about what behaviors are we looking for to get there, and that will tell you what you need to learn. This will also answer the question, when are you done with a PhD? This will actually answer that question, because if you know what the real world outcome, if you can reach it, then you're done. So that's often a question a lot of students have, like, when am I done? Right? That is, I get it. I had that same question. I was sharing that in my PhD class of 33 students, I was the first one done because I wanted to get out of grad school. I was ready to be done. Probably because all my friends were making a ton of money because it was right in the .com era, and they were all making. And then, I mean, I've got some friends who are crazy rich, and they do not have a PhD. So who's smarter? Me or my two brothers? Yeah, one of them was just a side note. Matt Cutts was a good friend of mine. He could not find a PhD topic when he was in graduate school, and I found my PhD topic. He stopped at his master's, and he was probably employee number 20 at Google. Wow. Yeah, and so he is like crazy rich. So who's smarter, Matt Cutts or that a PhD?
Who's luckier?
But he went to so he left. So when he finished, he was in grad school. I remember him coming in. And he goes, "Hey Ben, you know, I'm thinking about leaving the degree program. I got an offer from the startup. It's a search engine company. You know how many search engine companies were going on at that time? There were dozens of search engine companies. Ask Jeeves, you know, Google, tons of them. He goes, oh, there's one called Yahoo, and there's a bunch. He goes, I'm going to go to this one called Google. Why that one, right? And there's only like 20 some odd people that work in there. He totally won that game, so good for him. Anyways, I digress. So what I think is really, really useful here is to be able to think about what is the real world outcome. So don't worry about these levels. Okay, I just wanted to put them up here so that we repeat this over and over. What we're trying to do is now, whenever you demo your work to building construction people or to the medical folks or whomever, we lead off with a slide that shows this thing first, then this, right? So these are the most important levels, and then that leads to, so if I want to see these outcomes, what behaviors do I need to see? If I want to see these behaviors, what do people need to learn? Okay, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and just, on your sticky note, put down what you think. If you can do at least one, if you want to do more than one, that's fine. But write what you think the real world outcome of doing a PhD, so we're talking about PhD in computer science or human-centered computing here at the University of Florida. Okay? What's the real world outcome that you want? Dissertation hopefully starts to answer one question and it spawns 3 more new ones to be tackled. And you can then go pursue that yourself without me. So it's very much the apprentice model, right? So I've taught you how to pursue a project, move forward, so that you can go on and do it yourself. And the mentorship side, absolutely. Can you take somebody else then behind you and pull them along? When you graduate, would you be able to take a high school student, an undergrad, somebody who's going into graduate school, and mentor them to get a PhD? So when you can do both those things, yes, I would totally agree, you're done. Now, one caveat is sometimes people will get some of this mentorship from doing a postdoc. Some professors do not require this as being part of a PhD program. They're more interested in this. For me, though, the reason why I ask you to please work together as pair up with a senior graduate student, why we bring in folks over the summer, right, is so that you can start to build this skill set up. Okay, so hopefully you take the time when people come in, not like, oh, I got to go work or something. Like, no. This is exactly why you're doing that. It's not because I'm trying to slough off more work on you. It's because this is exactly what's going to help you into the world. And you can make a mistake here. It's okay. It's gonna be a lot safer than making a mistake here. All right, real world benefits, real world behaviors that we want to see. So you have to read about other people's work. You have to be able to communicate about your work and your ideas. I love that. And you have some level of expertise. And ways to generate new, so this thing would also tie to independent research, problem solving. This is really interesting, to communicate the journey. I hadn't thought about that, but where the mentorship lies is telling your own story over and over so that people will see where they are and how to get there. And yeah, a big part of my job is, I think, hopefully you all feeling this, to supporting you all to get to where you want to be, right? If we had tons more time, which we would choose maybe a couple of these and say, well, what do you need to learn? But basically, what I do want you to think about is, a lot of students will ask, how many papers do I need to write before I graduate? And you can see there was never a count up here. But you write papers to demonstrate that you can learn about other people's work, because you write previous work sections. You write papers to communicate your own ideas, to become a subject matter expert, to show that you can problem solve, right? So that's why you write papers. So how many? As many as it takes till you're able to do your own independent research and to mentor others. Okay? Now, typically, students in this group tend to write between 3 to 5 papers. Doesn't mean if you can't graduate if you don't have 3. Doesn't mean as soon as you get five, you're definitely done. Okay? Because you notice that that's not up here. But you are racing towards enforcing these behaviors every day. So just as if you play sports or you play music or you do that, practice every day, you get better and better, right? So this is like footwork. This is like the drills that you do every single day so that you can eventually get to this top level. Cool? Well, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a great exercise and you all came up with some great stuff, and hopefully gives you some insight about where we think about when you're done. Because it's such a nebulous concept. I can appreciate that. When I was a graduate student, give me a number. What is it? Because I want to tell my parents when they're going to fly on out here for their graduation, and it was a lot harder than that. So, are there any questions, things that I can help answer with this? And you all came up with this. I think that's what's really cool. You all did this.
I wish we could do it in real-time board so we have it
okay.
right away.
All right. Well, one thing I can do is I can take a picture of this and I can upload the picture of the real-time board and put that on the Verg page. So we'll definitely have that. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Thank you so much to Tima for